Yes, welcome to my channel. Today, since I have already started the chapter 8 and we have already began about the women and reform, and here I have talked about the Indian society in the 19th century, and also I have talked about the status of the women in the British period time, and then a role of 19th century reformers we will be talking about. So let us know about the 19th century. In the 19th century, how was our the women's status in India, and here we can find that there are many of the women's, in fact, from the rich family and royal family, or maybe the king's palace. So such kind of women's were actually given the importance on education, and then they were given the for the ruling and different areas they were actually capable of doing the things and all. But apart from that, we see that most of the women's were actually not given chances. Rather, we have seen in the medieval period onwards that most of the rulers after ruling in the country, you can see that there are many of the women were unable to go for this their education, and then they were kept aside from this education. And so let us say know how this women and the reform actually is a rather will give us an information about the past history. So let's see here. We can see that here that the exposure to a new set of values and beliefs actually inspired by humanism and rationalism, and promoted them to identify the social inequalities persistent in their surroundings and a fight against them. So as the people started becoming aware about it, they gradually learned the many of the tricks, many of the Western information they started acquiring, and then they heard about them about the other part of the world, and then also they learned about the how the say women's were uh, actually tortured and exploited in this country, and what is the solution. So many of the reformers in fact have visited to different parts of the world, and then they have seen how the women's were treated, and usually the status of that women in that country, even they have experienced that. So therefore, when we see this that this particular system is why is not working in India. So these reformers actually tried their level best to put heart and soul, especially to eradicate such kind of evils from the society. So here we can find that most of these reformers actually had some common goals, that is a women's emancipation, then eradication of the caste system, then women education even to promote them better way. So these are the things actually they focused for. And then the condition of women in the 19th century India was actually very different from what is actually today. Okay, so today we are very much we are actually getting the things in our eyes, and then in our hands we are able to get it. So females were actually not given preference at the time, and then most of the females were actually kept aside from the all that is actually decided by the men. So here they were neither sent to the school nor could they claim any rights over the property. So once you are given the marriage, then you didn't have at the time the right. But today the situation is different. Now we can understand that they were neither sent to the school, therefore they didn't have that knowledge of acquiring this particular information. And so as a result of that, what many of the women were not asking their fathers or parents their property as they go away, or as they separate from the family. So here instead of they were actually considered a burden, women were considered as a burden in the family, and that's why as much as possible or as soon as possible they try to give them marriage, and then they keep themselves free from this particular responsibility. So here you can see that which had to be taken care of, and then married off at the earliest opportunity. Now you can see that many of them would become widows and live the remainder of their lives in pitiful conditions. Then the custom of polygamy, that is also was existed. Polygamy, more than one wife a person can have. That is also was there, and that is also another social evils that we can face. Especially we have seen in different families like that there are many wives in fact one single person. So that is also we can see. So that is having more than one wife was actually widely practiced at that time. And so in some parts of the country, the custom of sati was also practiced, and this is the very much like a dangerous for the women at that time. So working towards change now. So how this particular changes needed to take care, and how is possible to take care to bring the changes in this society. So the beginning of the 19th century, the emergence of a culture of public debate and discussion. It means many of the religious books were actually studied, and then tried their level best to find out where this particular statement is there, where a women or women part actually supposed to be jump in the fire of the husband's uh, when the husband is actually burned there. So that is why actually the women were actually in danger at that time, and they were in a trouble even. So sometimes women were unable to do that, and then the members of the family over there, they used to carry, and then they used to throw in the fire, burning fire especially. So it's a kind of like pushing a person by forcefully into the death. So this is very like a kind of like murdering. So you are just forcing someone to murder, to kill herself. It means it is almost like a closer to the suicide. Okay. So therefore, so to get this a particular statement, or to make the people aware about the this situation, they started finding out, and then through the newspapers, magazines, pamphlets, and books, people started writing, and people started participating in the various debates on socio-political issues, and then started clarify this kind of doubts, and then people gradually got the ideas. People started coming to know about the evils that is actually people were practicing at that time. So most of the participants were actually members of the educated urban middle class, and it was this section of the society that provided leadership to the Indian nationalist movement. Okay, because of the educated. So many of them felt that the change was necessary for bringing about political change, and thus directed their attention and energy to undertake large-scale social reforms. And the debates that actually dominated the public sphere in the 19th century India were actually often initiated by the leading reformers. So here we can find one person is Rajaram Mohan Roy. He started his work, and Rajaram Mohan Roy was actually one of the earliest reformers who actually fought for the social causes during this time. So Rajaram Mohan Roy name is very much actually comes first here. So he believed that the best way to bring change is what, to pursue people to give up old practices and adopt a new way of life. There is a Rajaram Mohan Roy actually focused, and then he also asked others to adopt. So he also supported the French Revolution, and you know what happened here. Actually, he inspired by this particular French Revolution, and he supported the spirit of Western education and Western education, as well as he believed that contact with the Western ideas, contact with the Western ideas actually, you can make the or also the philosophy would bring equality and freedom in the Indian society. So people will understand when you integrate yourself with the Western education, then certainly you will be learning the many of the things from the out of the world. And then this is how the person called Rajaram Mohan Roy, he worked very much. Okay, next we have the how this abolition of sati was actually working. Now see, sati was the prevalent in the many parts of India. So as per the Sati system, the widow of the deceased was actually forced to immolate. So that is actually herself on the pyre of her husband. And Rajaram Mohan Roy, who was actually one of the most pronounced voices against gender inequality, campaigned throughout India to put a ban on the practice of sati. So he would focus more on the sati. And it is not alone Rajaram Mohan Roy, in fact, he tried, but then along with Rajaram Mohan Roy, the Britishers also actually worked, and that's why they were successful. Because without the support of the Indians, some of the things are not possible for the Britishers. Because once the British will take the initiative, means what? Okay, we have seen that the British have taken initiative in the beginning, but later on they realized that taking the direct attack on the Indians, then they may retaliate and their existence will be difficult. So that's why they have whatever the activity they have undertaken in their hands, actually with the support of the Indians. So that is we can also have to understand. So here Rajaram Mohan Roy, he actually gave this importance to avoid all this social evils that is actually existed in the society. Now you can see that Rajaram Mohan Roy, even he also went through different religious taxes, and then he found out the statement, and he found nowhere where this women should be immolated in the burning fire and to die herself. So that is why Rajaram Mohan Roy, he actually was very much aware about it. So he clearly everything he learned, and then Rajaram Mohan Roy tried to convince people also that the ancient scriptures in Hinduism did not approve the custom of sati. Okay, so this was a very powerful approach to alleviate society from social evils. And then again, during the 19th century, what happened? The British also started criticizing the Indian customs and rituals. Unnecessary rituals, unnecessary customs, unnecessary rules actually followed, and then a lot of rules actually destroys the people's development. Today, for example, a lot of norms and rituals. If suppose you follow up, what hell you are going to get. So there is thing we can find. So any of the community, suppose any of the religion, any of the community you are belong to, a lot of rules can destroy your. You are actually wasting your time, and it will destroy your mentality. You will not have the open mentality, or you will not come out with an open heart and to do anything great for the country. So that's why norms and regulations, for example, these are all actually just to destroy your mentality, and so you will not go ahead for any kind of development when you are actually surrounded with this thing, and it will pull you. That's why while growing, you must grow with a scientific temperament and learn something very solid one. Don't focus on the superstition and all the parents and our neighbors are speaking about the all the past events. These are actually useless. Okay, these are useless matters. So during the 19th century, the British actually also started criticizing the Indian rituals and all and norms and all what we were following. So they agreed with Rajaram Mohan Roy, and who was actually running a signature campaign against the practice of sati. And finally, the Governor General William Bentinck, you must remember, took the initiative to pass a law in 1829, which was actually abolish the sati system. So that is the great thing actually they did. Otherwise, today among us, among you, maybe many of the women could have been thrown in the burning fire. So after that we have the widow remarriage. Now we have seen that for a woman in the 19th century, embracing death on the pyre of her husband was not the only horror in her life. What widows who were actually allowed to live were actually forced into a life of deprivation and suffering, and they were actually considered inauspicious and could not participate in any of the family celebrations or social events. So that is also seen on the woman. So if the woman once is born from the parents, and suppose the husband is died, and suppose the woman is not allowed to to live with the family members, then you can understand how this or women part actually will be living in the society. Suppose no one is supporting, no one is helping, and no one is giving the importance to them, then certainly you can see that there will be a problem, is it not? So therefore, the women to live in a society, you need to give them opportunity. You need to have a proper guidance and every bit of things that is needed for the country, so that easily can be adopted. So anyway, so Rajaram Mohan Roy tried to influence public opinion in the favor of widow remarriage. Um, but here the chief what called prominent is who was the Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. So Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar actually, who also like Rajaram Mohan Roy, he also gave the, or he also promoted this widow remarriage, because he has seen all the pain and suffering to these people. And that's why, in order to show the example what he has done, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, actually what he has done, uh, Vidyasagar actually arranged for his own son to marry a widow. So he gave the example. Okay? He gave the example. So those who were actually against widow remarriage boycotted him. However, he never bowed down to the social pressure. And when they initiated, when they took the control on these evils, then they didn't go back by themselves. So here, the British actually passed the law in the year of 1856. That is a Widow Remarriage Act was actually passed, and with this one, actually after that, the widows were actually found some extent the relief. Okay. So by the mid 19th century, what happened? The movement in support of widow remarriage spread in other parts of the country, and the different society like a Pratna Samaj in Maharashtra organized a movement in support of widow remarriage, and which was also initiated by Mahadev Govind Ranade, R.G. Bandekar, Virasalingam Pantulu led a similar movement in Madras Presidency, while in North India you can see Dayanand Saraswati. Dayanand Saraswati, the founder of Arya Samaj, also emerged as a stronger supporter of widow remarriage. And then again you can find the acceptability of newly married widows in a mainstream society remained in a challenge, and the conservative group continued to oppose widow remarriage. So you can find that mainstream society means we can see that in the mainstream society, everything is followed very systematically, like a caste system are followed. Then you can see that women's were how what type of women's are there, and what type of like a religion they are following, and what type of like a system at home they are following up. Every bit of things are actually focused, and then due to that, actually what happened, many of the like widows were face still difficulties, even though the law was actually passed in the year of 1856. So this is one of the drawback for the society who didn't try their level best to do something great. So anyway, we can still can appreciate Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Rajaram Mohan Roy, then Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. So these are the people where actually had taken the initiative. And you can remember here, one caption is given, Munshi Premchand not only wrote about the social evils like dowry, child marriage, and the pitiful life of widows, but also believed that since these evils actually need to be eradicated from the society, and he himself married a child widow, because he experienced that this is the painful moment for a girl child to get married in the early childhood. Okay, so that's why he has written the books and all. So you must remember Munshi Premchand. Okay, so these are the few things you need to keep in mind, and I hope in my next video I will talk about fight against child marriage. So I would like to urge you to read through about this the women and the reform, the beginning part of this chapter, especially working towards change. Then you read about this abolition of sati, and you learn about the widow remarriage. And widow remarriage, you can learn about the names, who has given the importance, and who was actually acted as a very active like members of changing the society into a better society. So these are the things you can read through. So in my next class I will take about the fight against child marriage. Okay, thank you.